Hello and welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I'm Stevie B, happy to have you all with me today. I've got a very special video for you guys, so let's take some big sips to get this one started. I got a whole cup of coffee ready to go. So, in a video I made the other day, I said something that was very much not okay. And after I posted the video, after I went back and watched the playback, I realized how very not okay the statement was. And the statement was this: because of all the stuff that I've been dealing with in real life, all the filth, all the yuck, I come home and I log into the game that is not just my hobby but my passion, and I try and escape. And what I was essentially saying was, I've been using Entropia to disassociate. I've been using Entropia as a coping mechanism. And that's not okay. Whenever you're using a hobby and a passion as a coping mechanism to just get lost and try and deal with all the yick of life, that is not okay, no matter what the passion or hobby that you're getting lost in is. If you start using something as a coping mechanism that should not be a coping mechanism, that's not okay. And unfortunately in this country, if not around the world, mental health is very stigmatized, and it shouldn't be. I'll be the first person to say everybody should take their mental health very seriously, and if you need to talk to somebody and you are afraid or have never done it before or need some kind of support, go to somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, that you know loves and cares about you, and ask them to go with you to see somebody. And I promise you, if it's somebody that is truly interested in your well-being, they will go with you every single time. So that being said, I immediately pulled out my phone whenever I realized this, and I got a hold of my old psychology professor, probably one of the most brilliant minds in the field of psychology I have ever ran across. This man is more knowledgeable about applicable psychology than just about anybody I can think of. He's the reason that whenever I make a thumbnail for the video, my lettering is in a special shade of yellow. Most of you would never notice, but that special shade of yellow is there for a reason. The same reason that legal pads are yellow. Yellow generally tends to get you to focus. That is why legal pads are yellow, so that you can focus better than you could on white paper. For the same reason, whenever I create a thumbnail, I use a special shade of yellow on the lettering. I got that from him. He is absolutely brilliant in every way. And I haven't talked to him in probably 2 to 3 years. And I got a hold of him and I said, hey, I need to talk to you. Can you set up a time to meet me? He said, I'll get you in tomorrow afternoon. And that's one of the things that I love about a great therapist, a great mind in the field of psychology. They know when you reach out, you need them right then. So I went and met with him, and I talked to him not really about Entropia. It was about all the other stuff that I've got going on, my quote-unquote nightmare, as I've been calling it. And then at the very end, we got to Entropia. And I mentioned what I had said in the video, and he said, okay. He said, right now, based off everything you're dealing with, you need a way to keep your sanity. You need a way to have less stress in your life. So playing Entropia, having your hobby, having your passion, isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you realize it's a coping mechanism to some extent. He said, however, moving forward, let's say your life continues to improve, continues to get better, things continue to change. Will you be putting the same amount of time into Entropia, more time, or less time? And the obvious answer was less time. He said, right, so why would you make big changes right now, like doing a paywall or creating a Discord where people can interact with you if they are members of the paywall part of the thing, whenever you might actually be able to dedicate less time, not just to playing, but to content creation, to being social with these people? He said, why would you go further down that rabbit hole when you're in a period of transition, and over the next 6 to 12 months, you might have not just less time, but vastly less time to dedicate to this game? I said, that's a very good point. So for the moment, while I'm still considering the whole paywall aspect, I've decided to put that kind of temporarily on hold until I figure out more where Entropia is going to fit into my life down the road. It's going to be a part of my life. It's my passion. It's my hobby. But where at? To what extent? Is it, several hours a day? Is it 1 hour a week? I don't know the answer to that yet. But in having that conversation, he brought up something that was a very good point that I wanted to make to you guys. I am going to make the suggestion that it's very possible that we are not spending enough money in game. I know. Before you crucify me, let me explain. So he asked me very specifically, he said, your personality type is 0 to 100. You either don't do something at all, or you go all out full throttle with it. Always have, always will. I said, yeah, this man's known me for 20 plus years. He said, right. So that being said, what do you love most about the game? And a very honest answer was mayhem. So I had to explain to him what mayhem was. He said, right, why do you love mayhem? I said, because I can go full enhancers, full amplifiers, full pills, just all out, as many kills as I can, as fast as I can, as many hours as I can possibly put in. So every moment I'm logged in, I am just banging it out 100 miles an hour. He said, right, which is, again, perfectly aligned with your personality type, talking about me. He said, so let's say that Entropia was to become a smaller part of your life. Let's say that all of a sudden you have more commitments to family, to social stuff in the real world, more commitments to a real life business or side hustle. Would you enjoy the game if you could only play it 1 hour a week and had to play with your current playstyle outside of Mayhem? And the honest answer was no. I wouldn't enjoy it as much. He said, then what would be wrong if you went from playing, let's say, 6 or 7 hours a day to playing 2 hours a week, to use full enhancers, use full amplifiers, use full pills, and go all out for those few hours that you do get to play to get maximum enjoyment out of the game? What would be wrong with pulling out your FAP to heal instead of standing around to naturally regen? Would you get more fun out of it? Would you get more utility out of it if you played in that manner? And for me, the honest answer was, why, yes, I would. He said, so why don't you do that? Not just whenever the game is limited to, 2 hours a week of playtime, but now whenever you're playing more than you'll be able to 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And unfortunately, the answer I gave him was a very incorrect answer in a very broad sense. I said, this game is based off of a real cash economy. That's part of what makes it so special. That's part of what draws us to it. But once we get into the game, we love the game. The game is fun. We have a good time with it. But we tend to get stuck in this mindset of we have to squeeze every single peck out of this game. So we don't want to do any fapping. We want to stand by and naturally regen. We don't want to run pills that cost us PED. We want to just run without pills. We don't want to do those things that even spending $1 or $2 would make the game much, much, much more enjoyable. We're trying to just be cheapskates. And we're trying to have fun while being cheapskates. And it doesn't really work too well because you can only have so much fun while being a cheapskate. I said, so really, it's a mentality problem that a lot of Entropia players have. He said, that's absolutely correct. So take this information and now use it to your benefit. Now, that does not mean I am advocating every single person that plays Entropia should go more hardcore with it and should run full damage enhancers, full pills, all out, every single time they log in. Obviously, I don't think that's the case. Reason being is not everybody has that kind of a personality profile. There are many people who have the opposite personality profile that would actually provide them with more stress and less enjoyment. So for those people, that's absolutely something I would not advocate. What I am suggesting is we tend to get into habits in-game just like we do in real life. And once we get into a habit, we then do not stop ever so often to reanalyze what we are doing. And this is something that really we see in real life around New Year's. How many people don't pay any attention to their physical health until New Year's? Then everybody wants to be a gym rat. So what I am advocating today is that every 3 to 6 months, what we really need to do is stop and step back from Entropia. I didn't even log in yesterday because of this. And we need to say, okay, how many hours am I putting in a day, a week, a month? Now, is that the proper place this hobby, this passion of mine has in my life? Is this game in the proper place it should be? Or do I actually have more time I could dedicate to it, therefore I could get more enjoyment out of it, my life would be improved? Or is the game occupying an unhealthy portion of my time? Is it something I'm using in an improper way, like as a coping mechanism, when in reality I should not be doing that? I should probably just go talk to a professional or make some changes. And then in doing that analysis, we can match it with our personality profile and go, okay, based off who I am as a person, how can I play the game in a more enjoyable way? Throw the real cash economy aspect out the window, because we always focus on the money. Everybody's always focused on every peck, every ped, and that is important. But throw it out the window for just a moment and do an honest analysis and say to yourself, with the things that I've been doing in game lately, would I enjoy these activities more if I was running full damage enhancers, full amplifiers, full pills? Or would I enjoy it more if I was playing as eco as humanly possible? Now that answer is going to be different for every single person. It's a very personal choice, a very personal decision that needs to be matched up with your personality type. And then we can also ask ourselves the question, how much time, again, circling back, do I have to really give to this game, given my real life circumstances, given how my life operates? And then given that amount of time, how can I play Entropia in a way that is going to be more fun? Not just looking at how can we make it more profitable, how can we make it more fun? Because when this goes from a hobby and a passion that is fun to something where you dread logging in, why are you playing? Why are you doing it? When it goes from something that you enjoy and a form of entertainment to something that you don't look forward to anymore, why are you here? And that is why if we stop every 3 to 6 months to ask ourselves some of these questions and be honest about what our real life situation is, what our personality is, and then how we're interacting with the game, I think Entropia can be a much better, more enjoyable game than what we usually get. If it's already fun, if it's already enjoyable, if it's already our hobby and our passion, imagine how much better it can be if we do this analysis every couple of months and we maximize not just the profit potential, but the fun that we get from it. So that is one of the things that I've been trying to do over the past 24 hours, and it's a developing process. I can tell you that I decided to switch armors because this armor gives me slightly better protection, and I have been freely fapping instead of trying to get by with as little fapping as possible, and I've been running pills while I've been hunting, and I've been having a grand old time. And the funny thing about it is I've actually put in vastly fewer hours than I would on a normal day, but I've had 10 times the fun that I've had any time in the recent past. So that being said, obviously Mayhem is always going to be the most fun for me because it's when I can do the best of both worlds. I can go all out, have full damage enhancers, full amps, full pills, not have to stop to fap, get kills as quickly as I possibly can, and be pulling all that sweet, sweet markup stuff out of the loot pool. But in between Mayhems, I can consciously be aware of the things that make the game more fun for me, and I can deliberately play in a way that maximizes the amount of fun and utility I get out of it without having to be logged in 19 hours a day. Now again, everybody is going to take this differently based off their real life situation, their personality, and what they consider fun. There are going to be people who, in order to get the most utility out of the game, would have to do the exact opposite of what I do. But I think, by and large, everybody could benefit from doing this analysis every few months. And if the true, honest answer is spend a couple of bucks, and what playtime you do get, run damage enhancers, run full amps, run pills. Don't shoot yourself in the foot whenever it comes to the fun aspect and the enjoyment you can get from the game, because you're not willing to spend $1.50 to just have a better time playing the game. And I think if we all were to stop and do that every now and then, it would better serve us, it would better serve the game, and it would better serve the community. I think it would be a better game, and we would have a much happier community with this type of a real honest analysis every now and then. Now that said, Can I tell you exactly how much time I'm going to be able to dedicate to this game on a daily basis over the next week? No. What about the next 6 months? No. What about the next year or two? No. I do have certain goals, and they're not necessarily based on time, but those goals I can wrap the time around. I can wrap my goals into 8 hours a day or 2 hours a week. So as my life changes, my interaction with Entropia will change. I always want it to be a part of my life. The question is, where is it a healthy part of my life? So I am still playing with the idea of a paywall system. I'm still playing with the idea of possibly having a Discord for people that are part of the paywall system where you can interact directly with me. I'm still playing with the idea of creating a radio station system. I'm still playing with all those ideas, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and then a year from now only be able to dedicate an hour every other week to the game. That wouldn't be fair to me. It wouldn't be fair to you guys. So I'm kind of almost just taking a moment, not doing anything too drastic, not doing anything super new, and just kind of trying to enjoy Entropia to the best of my ability. Even if it means spending a little bit of money fapping, even if it means eating a few more candy canes, even if it means a little bit less markup or a little bit less TT return. And the funny thing is, I had the opportunity, which just happened to line up, that right after I decided to make this video, I was on one of the social media pages for Entropia, and there was a gentleman on there. He said, I started playing over a decade ago. And back when I started playing, I used to go out to nightclubs every weekend. And at a nightclub, I could easily spend $400, $500, $600 at a nightclub. And that was my primary mode of entertainment, my primary mode of socialization. He said, then I found Entropia. And I made a rule that this was going to be my new form of entertainment. Was going to be what I did from now on for fun. And I set myself a limit of $100 a week. And I told myself that every single week I was going to spend $100 on the game. Notice I did not say invest. I said spend $100 on the game. He said, to me, going out to a nightclub, spending $500, $600, $700 on a weekend, that's entertainment. So if this is my entertainment, and I can do that same entertainment, get that same utility, that same amount of fun for only $100, he said, I'm saving a ton of money. So that's exactly what he did. For 7 years, every single week, he spent $100 on the game. Now, what ended up happening naturally as he was having fun, as he was doing this, is some of that money ended up getting invested. As he learned to play smarter, not harder, as he grasped concepts like you're going to always lose TT return because Mindark has to pay the bills, so you have to go after markup, as he learned how to play the game more efficiently, let's say, what ended up happening is naturally the money that he was spending on the game, that $100 a week, became invested in the game. After 7 years, he quit depositing altogether because after 7 years, he was able to purchase a land area, become a land area owner, and that land area generates enough income that he can more than play off of that income and have all the fun that he wants. He said, now, because of that, I have all the unlimited toys, I have all the gear I could ever want, and I have an absolute blast, and I'm playing at a profit almost 100% of the time. And if everybody got more into that mentality, that is a amazing success story. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody has that kind of money to spend. I understand there's some people that their real life circumstances make them be free to play. Pro has been free to play from the beginning, and now he has an amazing pill shop at Medusa on the 3rd level. It's almost my primary place that I get pills, if not my exclusive place that I get pills at the moment. And he is an amazing success story of how a free-to-play player can make it happen, can make it work. However, this gentleman is the ideal example of how if you treat it as a game, if you focus on the real cash economy part, but spend just as much time focusing on having fun, you can spend money, and in the process of spending the money, it can also become an investment that can eventually lead you to complete sustainment where he no longer has to invest, where now the game is profitable for him almost around the clock. It's a very good example of how the majority of people who are drawn to this game could have more fun, more success, and do it better if they would just treat it like it was their entertainment for the weekend. if instead of going out to the movies every weekend and getting popcorn and a drink and a pretzel and movie tickets, you took that same amount of money every single weekend and deposited it into Entropia, how much more fun could you have? Would that allow you to fap while you were hunting instead of standing around for natural regen? Would that allow you to buy a couple of pills here and there and hunt faster and get more enjoyment with a smaller amount of time commitment to the game? Then, if you have more time to spend outside of the game, what else could you do in real life? How much would your life improve if you went from playing 2 hours a weekend to 1 hour a weekend all out and had an extra hour of free time? What could you do with that extra free time? So these are the things I want you guys to think about. And I'm not saying throw the real cash economy aspect out the window, because it's a very, very, very important part of Entropia. It's a huge part of being successful. All those things we talk about, playing smarter, not harder, going after the markup, all those things are very, very important. However, it's also important to remember that it's a game and it's supposed to be fun and we're supposed to get a ton of enjoyment out of it. And if we are trading a large portion of that enjoyment for a small amount of peck, I would argue and advocate that maybe that very small amount of peck is worth far, far, far less than the enjoyment we're having to give up. And that actually, if we were to focus a little bit more on the fun and enjoyment, we might be more than willing to part with a few peck for it. I'm not saying we'd be willing to throw our entire bankroll down the drain for it, but we might be able to have a much better time, make it a much better game, a much better community, and put everybody in a much better mindset. So I'm going to leave this to you guys to do your own personal analysis. Only you know your real life situation. Only you know your real life personality profile, the things that you get the most joy out of and the things that cause you the most stress. And only you can properly match Entropia with the amount of time you have to commit and with your personality profile. There are going to be some people that their personality is like mine. They go 0 to 100. So maybe they only log in to do mayhem. I've known several players that will not play the game unless a mayhem is going on. And when mayhem is going on, they play 24 hours a day all out during mayhem because that's what brings them the most enjoyment. I know other people that are the opposite, that they actually enjoy sweat circles. They actually enjoy standing around sweating for hours on end and just socializing with the people in the sweat circles. However, if they were to have to hunt or mine or craft or take a pill or use a damage enhancer, it would totally stress them out. They would get no enjoyment from it. So what I'm advocating is just every couple of months, take some time, do an honest evaluation, and find out what works best for you. What gets you the most enjoyment out of it, and how can Entropia be an appropriate hobby, appropriate passion, and have a healthy place in your life. Because when it gets to the point that it's a coping mechanism, or you don't want to log in, or you dread logging in, it's not healthy. It kills the passion. It takes it from a hobby into a chore. And that's not a good thing, because this game deserves to be the hobby and passion that it is. There's a reason we're here. There's a reason we stay. There's a reason we're drawn to it. So I hope that by me telling you guys this, and by me doing this kind of analysis myself and finding out the things that can help me enjoy the game more, I'm hoping you guys will be able to take that and use it for your own benefit so that you get more out of the game, so that you have more fun and have a little bit more enjoyment from this amazing hobby, this amazing form of entertainment that we love so much and want to share with the world. I'm also hoping that maybe this will help people get used to the idea of spending a little bit of money on fapping, a little bit of money on pills, and it might even help the economy as a result. I think one of the hardest things for this game is for new players to get used to the idea of having to spend real dollars on virtual items. I think that's a very, very, very difficult barrier for most people to wrap their head around when they very first start playing. So I'm hoping this will help out in multiple ways. I want to end the video today by just reiterating, guys, mental health should not be stigmatized. If you need to speak to somebody, find somebody that you trust. Find somebody that you really know has your best interest at heart. And if you have to, go to somebody that you know loves you and cares about you. And tell them, hey, I would like to go talk to a professional. I've got some things I would like to get some help with or some input with. Would you go with me? And I promise you, if it's somebody that truly cares and truly loves you, they're going to support you and be willing to go with you each and every time. So guys, I've been Stevie B, sip sip, smack smack, y'all know the rest. Head over to earnped.com, because when you earn, we earn. That is by far the best way you guys can help support us. Guys, I want you to support the content creators and the players in game whose deeply held values and beliefs most accurately align with your own. So if that's us over at EarnPed, then I really appreciate all the support for the videos and for all the users of EarnPed. However, if your deeply held values and beliefs are better aligned with Ludius.io or PedFlow or Entropia Partners, I want you to support those players and those services. Because if you're giving up your deeply held values and beliefs to support somebody who their values and beliefs don't align with yours, and you're doing this for a couple of peck, that's called selling out, and that is not okay. So if you choose to support us, we really, really, really appreciate it. However, if your values are more aligned with one of our competitors, please support whoever your values are properly aligned with. So that being said, I'm going to ask you guys to do the things that every YouTuber asks. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that bell icon so you know when we post new content. It takes 1 second. You only have to hit each button one time. It's absolutely free, and it does tremendous amounts for us and helps support us in a big, big way. And please help us by hitting that like button on every single video. Again, it's free. It takes 1 second. And unfortunately, there are people that just live to hate on people. There are trolls that just make it their life's duty to make everybody as miserable as they are. And unfortunately, they wait for us to upload videos just so they can hit that dislike button, just so they can try and leave a negative comment or try and troll somebody. So help us combat that by using the comment section on every single video and hitting that like button every single time that we post a video. It does a tremendous amount for us. It helps support us, but it also gets Entropia in front of people who've never heard of the game before, but who have a huge interest in PC games and RCE and all that good stuff. And a lot of times, seeing our videos as their first exposure, then those people end up learning about the game, they end up playing the game, they may end up being a part of your society or on a group hunt with you or buying something off of you off auction. And this has happened to people in-game already. I get these messages all the time, and it's only possible because of you guys. Me putting out the content isn't enough. You guys hitting that like button is what makes it happen. And that helps the game, it helps the economy, it helps the community, and it may inadvertently help you too. So please take the 1 second to do that. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to leave it there for now. I've got a lot more content planned for you guys. I'm going to take it slow before I make any major changes with something like a paywall, but I'm hoping that as we go forward, everybody will be better able to enjoy Entropia. So sip, sip, smack, smack. Guys, take care of your mental health, and we'll be back with more for you later this week. Take care.